Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. Due to YouTube's changing quote-unquote community standards, I created a channel called Grumpy Old Fart over on Rumble, a free speech alternative to YouTube. You can see all of my stuff over there, including my political and social commentary, as well as my current events videos. The links to my YouTube and Rumble channels, as well as links to let you order my books, are in the description of this video. If you enjoy my content, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. I welcome your comments, even if you disagree with me. Now, on with the video. Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing an advanced Dungeons & Dragons advice video. This is advice for Dungeon Masters. I'm calling it Time in Game. I started playing D&D back in the 70s, and we graduated from chainmail to the old red box edition to first edition advanced Dungeons & Dragons pretty quickly. I started running advanced Dungeons & Dragons first edition back in 79, and my family and I still play today. We played last weekend. I've talked about this before in other videos, but I have several friends who keep asking me about how to keep their game on track when the players all want to do different things, while the bad guys are enacting their master plan. They have issues with players that the bad guys doing their thing and the good guys know about it, the players know about it, but instead of following the clues or working towards stopping the bad guy, they're off doing different stuff. The short answer is simple: time. Everything going on in a game, any game, not just Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, any game, takes a certain amount of time. I'm going to use this one because it's prevalent in my mind, because I'm using this example because the guy who did it was an idiot. Digging a ditch takes far longer than eating a meal. I believe I did this. I talked about this more on in my game, who insisted on digging a huge trench by himself with a shovel and demanded I focus all of my attention as the dungeon master on him while all of the other players sat around bored. I want to say this was called the Necromancer Druid, I think was the video that I talked about it. Go check that one out. Anyway, that wasn't happening. I can't focus. As a dungeon master, you cannot focus on one player to the point where the rest of the players are bored. You cannot do it. Basically, this guy got pissed off and left because I wouldn't do what he wanted me to do. I'm digging a ditch. Okay, you're digging a ditch. Okay, you're digging a ditch, and everybody else is sitting around watching. That's just stupid. He got pissed, he left, and good riddance. Each activity the different players do is going to take a different amount of time. Make careful notes and keep specific track of the time needed and the time spent. Out of combat, 6 turns equals an hour, and 1 turn equals 10 minutes. 1 round equals 1 minute. During combat, 1 round equals 6 seconds, while 1 turn equals 10 rounds, or 1 minute. Keeping this all straight will help keep everything on track. If some of your players complain, just explain to them your logic regarding how long their activities take. Make sure you explain that before they begin. The player says, well, player A says, I need to clean up this tavern and make it usable for the big party they're going to have tonight. Okay, that's going to take 3 hours. Okay, no problem. Now, while you're cleaning that for these 3 hours, these other players, what are you guys doing? Well, what about me? Well, you're cleaning the tavern. You stated that's what you were going to do. If you don't want to do that, say so now. No, I got to get it clean. Okay, well, it's going to take 3 hours. While you're cleaning, you other players, what are you going to do? That kind of thing. Make sure they know ahead of time. As for the bad guys, my go-to response for further complaints, if they complain about how long it's taking, my go-to response for further complaints is, I'm just a dungeon master. I can't tell you what to do. That usually gets their goat pretty good, and people laugh and people get pissed, but whatever. As for the bad guys, just because the player characters decide to remodel an inn, dig a canal, or forge a suit of armor for a dear relative, the evil plan continues. While the player characters are conducting these side activities, the bad guy is still searching for the MacGuffin, raising their army, or furthering whatever their plan entails. Remember, bad guys don't give two shits what the player characters are up to as long as they aren't interfering with the bad guy's plan. Player character side jobs are gravy for the bad guys. If your player characters know the bad guy is raising an army to attack a city, and they start planting crops, and one guy's digging a ditch, and one guy's out there, I don't know, playing blacksmith for whatever reason, the bad guy's still raising that army. It's not the bad guy's fault, and it's not your fault that the player characters are ignoring the bad guy. I had a group a few years ago who insisted on helping a village build a log palisade to help them defend against bandits and wild animals. And it was a worthy cause. I'm not saying it wasn't. But it was a large village, and building this huge enclosure was at least a 2-week job for the people who were working on it. While they were chopping down trees, dragging logs, digging holes, and erecting the barricade, the evil wizard was able to find his long-lost magic item and retreat into his mountain stronghold. When the palisade was done, the player characters had a hell of a time tracking down where the item had been, and then they were pissed that he had beaten them to it. I told them, you just spent 2 weeks playing Bob the Builder, you gave him a hell of a head start. I told you how long it was going to take to do this, and you went on with it anyway. The player said, why did you let us do it? I replied, I'm just the dungeon master. I can't tell you what to do. I cannot tell you what to do. I'm just the dungeon master. Yes, they were pissed, but it wasn't my fault. One final note. When you as the dungeon master decide the time frames for whatever bullshit activity they decide to do, make sure that you use logic and common sense. Digging a ditch, for example, is a time-consuming and laborious process. It is hard work and takes a long time. I speak from personal experience. I have dug more than one ditch in my time in real life. On page 106 of the Dungeon Master's Guide, it talks about mining, which is a very, very similar activity. It also talks about earth excavation. Okay? Make sure, above and beyond anything else, that you explain to your players how long this effort will take. The last thing you want them to be able to cry is, you never said! Because you know they will. You know they will. So yeah, time, keeping track of everything that's going on in your game. Make careful notes. Make sure you know what the bad guy's doing, how long it's going to take him, as opposed to what the good guys or the player characters are doing and how long it takes them. If the good guys finish doing whatever they're doing and the bad guy's plan erupts into motion and the capital city falls and the king is killed while they're off doing whatever, if they knew about it, how long it was going to take ahead of time, it's not your fault. Now the campaign shifts from defending the city to how do we overthrow the evil wizard or whatever. You see what I'm saying? The campaign's not over. It just shifts focus. At any rate, I hope this helps, and I hope this finds everybody well. And again, you don't have to do it this way. I'm not saying you have to do it. No, I'm just trying to help. If this helps, one dungeon master out there, I'm happy. And if everybody out there ignores it, I'm still happy, because you run your game your way. Hope this finds everybody well. You folks have a good day. God bless one and all. Clarissa Lowe, a historian from the future. Delmore Kane, a Civil War veteran turned outlaw. This oddball pairing faces a conspiracy of epic proportions spanning the centuries. If you like action and adventure westerns with a splash of science fiction and fantasy, check out my book series Drifters and their ongoing adventures.